All right, we are back with another edition of our Who Got Next segment, and as always, we try to bring you guys some talented and special guests to the platform, and we have a young woman, talented artist from New York City by the name of Justy. Say what's up.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah, Justy is a really cool and I think down to earth. Really, that's one thing that I've really gotten a chance to really understand from you. Just talking to you off air, and just really digesting your music, which we'll get into. Yeah, nah, I really appreciate you just joining the platform.
Yeah, I appreciate the platform, immensely, and I'm a fan of what you guys do. So it really is like, my pleasure to be here and be able to talk to you guys.
Okay. Super duper appreciate that because
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan also of you. I remember rating the very first song that I heard by you. I rated 5 stars.
Yeah,
So,
dang.
and I'm stingy. Uche knows how stingy I am on RGM. I don't give many people 5 stars.
Right.
Like, so I gave your song 5 stars. I think you're a dope artist, and
Absolutely.
got a beautiful mind, I would say.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
Beautiful mind and a beautiful soul, and I think that's really where I want to start because
Yeah.
you had I think your most recent song, Rinse Repeat Regress, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, that you
Yes.
put out. Man, it's a emotion filled, jam packed song that just absolutely encompasses a lot of vulnerability, things that I love in music. And I don't know if people know this, but I'm gonna tell you right now, like R&B, soul, that's my like favorite genre of music. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period. And I think what you do is very dynamic. So to start though, you had, and I think it was part of the bridge or the hook, but you basically said, when I love myself again, maybe I can love again.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. I was like, that was deep. But more importantly, you said love myself again, not love myself. So like, what kind of battle do you normally have with loving yourself, I guess, continuously? And like, how does that translate into the music that you make?
Yeah. I feel like self-love and self-loathing are parallel cycles. So I feel like with each emotion, it can go round and round and round, right? Which is kind of where the idea for the song came forward. Um, to put myself into that mindset, I was thinking about the fact that there are periods and there have been periods in my life where I've been very full in my self-love and very solid in my self-love, but I've also had that parallel of not being very full and not being very solid in my self-love. So um I feel like just with that line, when I love myself again, it's kind of like knowing there is a possibility and the potential for you to get back to the start of a cycle, let's say, but maybe you're not there yet, right? So I always felt like I think it is possible to love other people and not necessarily love yourself. But I don't think you can do it effectively or as efficiently as you would want to do it because there's always going to be this void, right? Within yourself. So it's kind of like put your mask on before you help someone else. It feels like that. So that's where that came about.
Got it.
Yeah.
Man, I like that. I like that.
deep.
I felt that. I mean, obviously you explained it, and I appreciate the explanation, the vulnerability. But like, even when I was listening to it, I'm like, there's so much depth in your music that there's a lot of things that just kind of spoke to me. Another one was you were talking about how you said you find your music bumps the loudest when it's cuffing season. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Like, that was pretty random, but like, so no, in other words, like, I noticed your music is a lot of it's themed a lot in relationships.
Yeah.
And just whether it's with yourself, whether it's with significant others, whether it's with family, friends. And so I think a lot of people can appreciate, your perspective because, hey, whether you choose to talk about that or not in your music, everybody goes through that. So
Right.
shout out to
Right.
you for just being open and honest in your music. I think that's what
Yeah.
music is for, really. So
Yeah. No, that I think for me as a listener, all my favorite artists have been the artists who have like kind of very transparently spoken about the things that they go through. And I think what's cool with, how my writing has progressed is all the relationship dynamics used to be in a relationship sense, as opposed to now I can look at it from all levels, from platonic relationships, from family relationships, from business relationships, um, just looking at it as a whole instead of just being like love, 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 right? Because we always joke about and talk about like, dang, like I'm tired of writing about love, or like how can we flip this and make it apply to other things? And I try to keep it spread out and kind of diversify my writing a little bit. So there are a multitude of like really cool topics that I'll touch on my forthcoming debut album, but I definitely been pushing myself to explore different levels of relationships.
That's
word.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's dope. It's funny because I feel like we don't appreciate the artists that talk about love enough. Like somebody I really, really love, ironically, I use the word love, is
Yeah.
Black Bear.
Oh
Black
yeah, yeah,
Bear.
yeah.
Black Bear talks about heartbreak on all of his music, but he does it in a way that's complex, unique, kind of sort of like how you do it. And so, come on, everybody got to give kudos to her. Give kudos to Justy because she's doing something that I think people need to appreciate more.
No, for real.
Um,
She's
I do
doing
have a
she's
Okay.
doing us a service.
yeah, I
Honestly.
love it. I love
I
it.
appreciate that.
I love it.
Yeah. It's
I,
yeah, no, it's just something that I feel most of us go through. So it's like to have transparency in that is like, super important.
mhm,
So yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I'm hugely appreciative of that. I do have a two-part question though.
Yeah.
Nowadays I noticed that this is a question that I know Uche is gonna kind of laugh at, but it's a simple question, but it's
Give it to me.
complicated for artists sometimes. The first part of the question is, uh, do you call yourself an artist, or do you call yourself a singer? Do you call yourself a rapper? I know sometimes people are like, man, don't call me no rapper. I'm no rapper. Some people are like, don't call me no artist. I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
Like, do you call yourself an artist or a rapper? And then my second question is, how would you describe your music? Like, how would you describe the type of music that you make?
So that's a really good question actually, because I think it's changed for me throughout the years. I think when I first started um creating music, I was very much on just like the singer songwriter, even more so on the songwriter. And because I was like, I don't think I'm like enough of this or enough of that to be an artist. So like I will be in the background just kind of like doing that kind of stuff. But then I think as I got more confident in my work, I felt more comfortable using like the singer songwriter, and then kind of moved into all right, well, rapper, because we have a lot of like hip hop stuff we're working on, and then it moves to artist, and then now I even will say just like creative sometimes, because I
Mm,
find that as artists we find ourselves wearing many hats. Um,
mhm,
so if you're recording your stuff, maybe mixing your stuff, if you're doing like your music visuals, you're producing all this content. So you're really a creative. You're not
Mhm.
just an artist.
mhm.
And
Correct.
I think that's cool for people to look at and even take on, because I think it's important to acknowledge all the work you do, especially if you're independent. If you're independent,
Mm.
you're basically the artist, the manager, like you're every
Mhm.
level of it. It's like you're the Barry Gordy and the Michael Jackson. So
Mhm.
it's
That's a great way
it's
to put it.
yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
little multi-layered in that. And then the second part of your question was, remind me again.
How would you describe your music?
My music, right?
Mhm. Like what genre would you label it?
You know, simply put, if I'm throwing something on it, I always usually say jazz hop because it's kind of the combination of these like jazz elements with some hip hop, but there's also R&B and soul in there, right? So I usually just say jazz hop, but it really is the combination of the jazz, the hip hop, the R&B, the soul. That's what I grew up on. So I always like to incorporate that in what I'm doing, and I think I've grown more comfortable in it as the years have gone on. So yeah.
Do you feel like the jazz hop genre gets enough love? Because I know I feel like who is
I don't
somebody?
even. I'm
Like,
trying to think of who's jazz hop right now. Like, I
would
can't even really
call-
think of anybody who's
I would
currently
call,
doing that.
Kind of Rhapsody a
Yeah.
little bit.
Jazz hop?
Kind of sort of call her.
I don't know about it. I think she got jazz elements in
Right.
some of her songs, but I wouldn't overwhelmingly say that she's that type of artist overall. Yes, she has those elements for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
if you guys think of No Name,
No Name.
No Name,
okay, yeah.
No Name has been a big influence to me, and that's kind of one of the main people that No Name for me was the first person that I heard incorporating the jazz, the hip hop, and the R&B, the singing and the rapping. So like that's the credit I gotta give to No Name. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chica.
Yep. She was a double XL this year.
Yeah, double XL
freshman. Yeah.
Yep.
Tom,
Chica can rap though.
Yeah,
you heard her rap.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Chica's got bars.
See, I've never really heard her music where she's singing though. Me personally, I know she can do it. I just never heard it.
Yeah. Chica's definitely incredibly talented with the pen and with the delivery, and even with the structure of how her songs are. And even, you know, outside of hip hop, I'm a big fan of Tom Misch, right? And he kind of really has those jazz elements in his music. So and Jay Dilla, right? I think about Jay Dilla, right?
Yeah.
Probably my favorite producer ever, right?
Yeah.
So all of these different elements, and Mac Miller, you know, like these are different.
That's a great point. That would be but probably more later on in Mac's career,
right?
He definitely started blending the jazz, the funk, the really everything, man.
Yes,
that's a good. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. Yeah,
yeah. Rest in peace to Mac. But those artists are people who I think really embody the jazz hop elements a lot. But no, I don't think jazz hop gets enough love. I don't. I think jazz hop is such a cool genre. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you're performing live. When I'm performing live with my band, it's like hip hop to me just sounds so good with live instrumentation behind it.
God.
Yeah.
Preach.
So, I mean,
100% agree.
Preach.
Yeah, I think of like I don't even know how I look past this, but I think of the Roots, right? Even the Roots, that element of live instrumentation is just different. So I feel like that's one of the great things about jazz hop, because you can have someone with impeccable flow, with impeccable delivery, and then you have them doing this over a beat with a sax. Like it's just different, and it's cool. And I know listeners hear it and they're like, this is just cool. It just sounds cool. To me, jazz is just a very cool genre. And hip hop is hip hop. Hip hop is everything, right? So to take the culture of hip hop and the cool smoothness of jazz and to combine it, like, you know, imagine a Sade Jay-Z record, you know, like that would be kind of dope. So yeah, jazz hop definitely deserves more love, but I do feel like it'll come to prominence more over the years, hopefully. So
wow,
yeah,
you bodied that. I ain't gonna lie. You said a lot of things that you know, really hit home. First and foremost, when you were talking about how, like, you know, I guess to Q's question about the artistry and how like sometimes you want to acknowledge yourself and all the things that you do. And you know, I think all creators can feel that way, even if you're not even somebody who makes music. You know,
Yeah.
let's say for example, what we do on the podcast end. You know, we're not just the people on the microphone. We're
Right.
also the producers. We're also the executive producers. We're the
Right.
showrunner.
Right.
I like to joke with
Marketers.
we're the marketers. We're like social media. Like I like to joke with Q all the time and tell him like I need to know how to do every role. Like I need to
Right.
be able to be the janitor if
Mhm.
somebody needs to mop the floor. Like I don't want to
Right.
be like, damn man, I wish I had a janitor. Crap,
Right.
let me go get one. I need to be able to know about all of the roles. So I think that's very important what you said. I think a lot of artists that are multi-talented and multi-dynamic feel what feel that point. And then also about when you talked about the instrumentation in jazz music, I noticed that your music has a lot of that. And so I was wondering if you play any instruments, and if you do, which ones do you play?
Yeah, so I play guitar actually. I got my
Mm.
baby behind me. But yeah, so I started guitar lessons when I was probably 7, but I was 7, so I was not committed. Um put the guitar down, didn't pick up the guitar again until high school when I was in, like basically a music class. And from that point on, I just got back into it. And yeah, I to perform and to play, even if you're at the basic level like myself, right? Like I'm not like shredding the guitar or anything, but like just basic, chords. Um, that to me also brings life to your songs, right? And it
Mm,
also has a certain, charm to it when you're performing. So live instrumentation to me, I remember when I transitioned from backing tracks, performing live to actually having, like my band with me and
mm,
having the drum and having the bass and just feeling like these songs just sound better,
mm.
um and there's nothing wrong with using backing tracks either, but there is a different element, and I think it creates a good intimacy with the audience as well, that I personally enjoy.
I love it. I love
Nice.
Yeah.
it. One of the other things I say a lot, and I think I just came to this realization probably last year. During the lockdown, everybody's at home. You listening to all types of music or whatever it
Yeah.
is that you're doing. And I said to myself, man, I really think that anytime you add a guitar to a song, the song is automatically better. Like, matter of fact, especially if we're talking about hip hop, add a
Yeah.
guitar as the bass line. That song is borderline a hit. Now it's about what you do as the performer to maybe don't mess it up,
Yeah.
because there's certain instruments that literally will take the song to the next level. To me, here's my order, personal order: guitar, right, adds that life to the song. Uh, Secondly, pianos. You add piano chords or whatever to a song, it makes the song automatically more sentimental. You feel it more. And then after that, I would probably say like a saxophone or a trumpet of some sort, whatever.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't have recorder on that list? What about
A
recorder?
flute,
How come
or a flute.
recorders don't get love?
Yo,
What
remember
about
how
the
when,
clarinet?
yo, shout
The
out to
just the clarinet.
yo, shout out to
Damn.
Future for I don't want to say introducing the flute to the kids on
Yeah.
Mask Off, but like
Yeah.
I feel like there was a whole generation of kids who listened to hip hop at one point who, when they heard Mask Off, their mind was automatically blown. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that flute. Yeah, that flute was amazing on there.
unbelievable.
Yeah, that was so well done. And that's the thing. I like when elements like that are put into the songs, because I think it adds another layer to the game, right? Like it pushes people to get a little bit more creative with
Mhm.
their beat production, and it kind of pushes the artist too, right? To like write around something different. And I want to add to your list, a good bass in a song
Ooh.
is
Oh yeah.
solid,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
To me, that's like damn near by default. I didn't mention that because I just feel like you should probably have that regardless.
Right, right.
You
Yeah.
don't necessarily need a guitars or need pianos per se, but I
Right.
think you majority of the time you need a good bass.
Absolutely.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's almost mandatory.
Yeah.
You
The bass
you
line
know,
got to be there.
It has to. Yeah.
you know, it's funny. You know, as we're talking about instrumentation, me and Uche, we've bonded over Roddy Rich's new song, "Heartless," because the
Mm.
instrumentation is just so beautiful. And then you
Yeah.
mixing his like kind of like come up / gutter content to the
Yeah.
instrumentation. Oh man. And
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I really started appreciation like live instrumentation when I heard Gucci Man rap over it. Remember that Gucci Man song, Uch, where it was like an orchestra?
A song or when he
It was an
performed it?
intro, a Gucci Man intro with the orchestra.
Oh man. Yeah, that was old Gucci.
And I was like, whoa,
It was old
that
Gucci.
sounds
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
But anyway, I digress. So Jesse, I do have another question.
Yes.
So have you ever felt pressure to make music that not necessarily fits like what you want to do? Like, have you ever had pressure to make a club hit or anything like that? And if you did, or if you are open to it?
Yeah. So again, there was like a period where I was like, let me just focus on songwriting because that is, that can be an easy way in, right? And then I can just jump to my stuff. Was able to connect with a particular A&R, and this person was just like, they heard my music, right? We love your music, blah blah blah, right? So they sent me a bunch of tracks to write on, and they're basically like, all right, we need a hit, like we want you to write bad bitch music, like that's what we want from you. And I'm sitting there like, y'all heard my music, like
Right?
I don't know
Right?
what
She's
there
like,
was.
She's like, I don't scream. Do I scream out bad bitch music to
Right,
you? Like,
right.
come on, man.
I was like, I don't know what in my discography made you feel like I was gonna be the person for that job. But there's been situations like that, and the hit thing, right? Like that's happened more than once. So when I was put in that position, I found myself falling short because it's just not like it's not my thing. And on the other end, they didn't get what they were looking for because it wasn't organic, right? Like it's not real. And I think if anything, that taught me like you are actually an artist. Like you are indeed an artist. There are certain things that you want to talk about and you want to write about, and that's why this is not connecting, right? That's why this is so hard. And I think that's important for artists to understand and realize and even appreciate, because if you find yourself, chances are if it feels weird, hard, or unnatural, like you probably shouldn't be doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta stick with some sense of organicness. That's not to say you shouldn't experiment and push yourself, because you absolutely should.
Right.
But if you're trying too hard, you got to put it down. And I know a lot of people find themselves in that position, especially now when it's like they want you to rap a certain way or they want you to make a certain type of song. But it's like, if you're fitting the trend, it's a popcorn artist, you're going to be hot right now. And, that's going to fade out real quickly if it's not who you are. So
I think just to, which I know I'm sure you want to add on to it, but what I wanted to say real quick was that I think that's the problem that artists have. Artists are scared to say no. So in your situation, that is actually very impressive that, you were able to say, I kind of want to stay who I am, because, while some opportunities may go away, if you're looking long term, this is the best decision. And when you're thinking long term, I think you're going to have to deny some things, deny some people.
Yeah.
And I think that's something artists struggle with,
Yeah.
That's
saying
a fact.
no. Just say no.
Yeah. I do like your point though, Justy, when you talk about it's okay to experiment, because I think a lot of people, not just artists, but just people in their everyday life, they walk around with this famous idiom slash saying that people use all the time, which is something to the effect of, if you've to achieve what you've never done, you have to do what you've never done, right? Like you can't, like in order to do something great or to be something different, it doesn't always mean you have to keep doing what you've done. I think there's a fine line. I guess that's what I'm saying, right? There's a fine line between experimentation, doing new things. But I think your point about staying true and making sure, like, you're asking yourself along the way, is this natural? Is this who I am? Like, does this feel right? I think that is important. Very important.
Right.
Very, very important.
It is that balance, like you just touched on. It is the balance of knowing when to push yourself out of your comfort zone, versus when to stay true to the artist that you feel you are. So it's not an easy thing, but it's important. And it wasn't easy, for me to do either, especially when I felt like I was missing these huge opportunities, right? But I wasn't delivering my best because it didn't feel natural. So that's just something I feel artists should keep in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great advice. Definitely something to live by.